Since ancient times, humans have wrestled with the symbolism of the serpent, particularly in the story of Eden. We were taught that the snake was the villain, tempting humanity toward its downfall. But as we look deeper into mythology and ancient wisdom traditions across cultures, a more complex picture emerges, one that challenges our familiar narratives about knowledge, power, and truth. In the oldest stories from Egypt to Mesopotamia, from India to the Americas, serpents were revered as sacred creatures. They represented the cycles of death and rebirth, shedding their skin to emerge renewed. They were seen as guardians of hidden wisdom and sacred mysteries. The Aztecs had Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god of wisdom. In Hindu traditions, the Nagas were powerful serpent beings associated with knowledge and protection. These weren't demons or deceivers, they were teachers. This raises profound questions about the tale of Eden and the tree of knowledge. What if this story wasn't primarily about sin and disobedience, but about power and awakening? The fruit offered awareness, the ability to know good from evil, to think critically, to question. Perhaps what made this knowledge forbidden wasn't that it was evil, but that it was transformative. It represented humanity's potential to outgrow blind obedience and claim autonomy. Throughout history, those in positions of authority have often feared the spread of knowledge among the masses. An educated, questioning population is harder to control than one that simply follows orders. We see this pattern repeated across centuries, from ancient priests keeping sacred texts hidden from common people, to more recent attempts to restrict access to education or information. The powerful have long understood that knowledge itself is a form of power. When we look at the serpent through this lens, we might see not a deceiver, but a liberator. The fruit of knowledge wasn't poison, it was medicine. Bitter perhaps, but healing. It opened human eyes to deeper truths, to the complexity of moral choice, to the responsibility of conscious awareness. This awakening came with a price. The comfort of simple certainty was lost. But it gained us something precious, the freedom to think, to choose, to grow. Perhaps this is why the symbol of the serpent appears in medical emblems worldwide, the rod of Asclepius, encircled by a healing snake. It reminds us that transformation often requires facing uncomfortable truths, that wisdom, like medicine, might taste bitter but leads to healing. That knowledge, though it might shake our comfortable certainties, is ultimately a path to freedom. In the end, maybe the real deception isn't in seeking knowledge, but in fearing it. True wisdom often means questioning what we've been told, examining our inherited stories from new angles, and being brave enough to consider that what we were taught to fear might actually be our path to liberation. The serpent reminds us that truth, like a snake shedding its skin, sometimes requires us to let go of old stories to embrace new understanding.